Yo, Nick, we're going to go and break down your frontside and backside spins to figure out how we can go and get you to the next level for your next trip. So, all of these clips should be enough to go and really get what's going on figured out. We'll go and start with this backside 360 right here. So for this backside 360, as you're coming in, the biggest thing that we're going to notice right away is see how tall your posture is. So even though you're trying to open your hips, when you're this tall, you just don't have any range of motion in your legs or upper body, and this is going to make it really hard. Compared to at the same time, I'm squatting down this much, completely bending the legs, completely over the upper body, very similar to like a front side takeoff bent position. And then I go and hold that all the way into the spoon of a jump, and this is what's giving me the slight board angle, the slight chest angle, and keeping everything going. Where because you're taller here, it's making it so you're sort of twisting. So you're trying to open your chest more here, and we can actually see your chest is more open than mine. But because you're tall and you're opening the chest more, this is actually causing your back knee to want to twist forward, and it's going to actually make it so your weight is now set a little bit towards your heels, making you unbalanced. So the only way you should be getting this much rotation of the upper body is by having the hips and everything rotate, and that's only going to be possible with more bend. And this makes it so as you go and try to transition, sorry, I just had to make sure I was right timing. As you go to transition to your toe edge, you're now in this body posture here where your upper body's open, but your hips are sort of squared and that back knee's coming in a compromised position instead of holding this like straight line with everything being open at a constant angle. Let's go and break down the transition a little bit more. And because you're not having the squat down motion, when you go and shift to your toes, in order to keep your balance, you're sort of letting your upper body come forward like this. So your weight here is set over your heels, but you're doing it sort of like in a tall standstill position, a little bit. If we just draw a line for your body here, we can just see that it's not too straight of a line over the board. So that's basically what we want to do. If we squatted your hips and pulled your like glutes further back here, had the upper body come like more over, then we'd be having a straighter line of balance over top of your board. That's going to make it a lot easier to transition through. Because right now, as you're transitioning to your toe edge, now if we look at your hips are here, but your upper body's over here, and you're sort of not really opened up with everything towards that corner of a jump, and it's just going sort of straight with those hips. So it's just not giving you a very strong platform to generate your spin from. And because you don't have that strong platform to generate the spin from, you're sort of in this like muted position that's going to make it really hard to pop and time. Where if we compare that to mine, because I'm going up, hitting this open up position all on the same angle, and you can see I am leaning on my toe edge, but because I'm enough stacked over my board and I have that momentum of the edge transfer, it's not too big of a deal. And this is all stemming from that heel side position, and that's allowing me to go and generate clean rotation through. So we're leaving off with a very similar amount of snap in our upper body. The difference is I'm snapping my upper body and having like it leading with keeping my hips and everything in a strong position, where we can start seeing that your knees coming in a little bit leak. Like we just don't have a very clean line of power. So your throw and your position right now just aren't letting you go and get a clean line of power through the transition and jump. So let's talk a little bit about how you can go and fix this. So first thing, and this is just not debatable, you need to add a much more exaggerated setup car. I want to see you in this really exaggerated position, keeping your weight set over your board. This position opens up for range of motion in your hips, range of motion in your shoulders, and helps it so your board gets on this angle, all while keeping you a little bit of heel pressure while maintaining your weight relatively stacked over top of a snowboard. That makes it so as you go and transition to your toe edge, you're getting this really nice wide turn radius. See how my board's wide here, and the hips are pointed this way, the upper body's pointed this way. And then from there, in order to go and stand up and extend, we're not going and really winding and twisting the upper body. So watch my upper body here. Here's my max wound up position right here. Notice how I'm not actually trying to like rotate my core, rotate my shoulders. Instead, I'm just pulling my arms outwards. This is really important because if I go and if I try to like twist my upper body not in correlation to everything else, it then set my weight sort of angled towards my heel edge here. And that's going to make me start concaving, and any concave is going to compromise the side of your core. So we really need to focus on maintaining a strong, sturdy chest and just having our arms open up in correlation to our hips. That's one of the things that you're having troubles with, is when you're coming in for your wind-ups, you're not having enough range of motion opened up. So then you're trying to go and get that extra range of motion by opening up just your chest, and just opening up your chest here is making it so you're sort of concaving and you're losing that balance, because now your center of weight with your upper body is being shifted a little bit towards here, just making it so it's not clean. Where if we look at this, you can see that I'm straight, and it's just by having the arms open, the back arm open, that I'm getting in this strong position to wind up and snap. So that's going to be the biggest change we want to make for your backside 360s. Everything in the air and everything besides that doesn't matter, because our timing for the takeoff is really similar. The only difference is mine's on a lot cleaner motion, and I have a lot more range of fluent motion off the toes, so I can control it more. So chest completely 90, and that's making it so as I throw, I have all that range of motion to hit the timing. And this is making it so even though I'm preemptively popping, it's not too big of a deal. And that's really what we want to be achieving on backside spins, is a platform where it's not too big of a deal if you don't have it perfect. And the way we achieve that is being set over the board, hips and everything squared, leaving off in this neutral position, with the upper body still having plenty of range of flexible motion to channel through. So if we go and try draw a line here, you can see there's a clean line with my upper body. Let's go and move a few frames. There's a clean line for my upper body, finishing with a clean line for the upper body. If we go and compare it to this one, let's go and try draw the clean lines for the body. So here, the line through the body, clean line through the upper body. One sec. Now we're sort of like dropping and shrugging the shoulders, so more rounded line for the upper body. Now we're on an angled line of the upper body. Now we're with an angled line going the other way with the upper body. So you're just having a lot of different dynamics of moving and positioning the upper body. And this is all coming through not having a strong platform to generate rotation, generate the snap from. Okay, with that out of the way, let's go to the front side spins. We might recap on that in a second. So this front side spin, you're getting good pop, but the reason why it's not controllable is just how much you're leaning back over your heel edge. This is making it so you're corking in an uncontrollable way, and that's why you're going and feeling out of control, even though that was your best height on the pop. This is stemming from your approach and your in run, and the way you're transitioning from edge to edge. So let's go and use this side-by-side comparison. So first thing we can note is our actual approach here is pretty similar. So at this point, I'm pretty happy with it. It looks good. Not really anything we need to change. The thing we do need to change is, this is a little hard to describe, so give me some time here. But see how as you're going and transitioning to your heel edge, you're sort of going and sinking your hips backwards. So sinking the hips backwards is the general concept. The problem is you're taking your upper body with it. So watch this really close. So here you're on your slight toe edge position, and then boom, you're sunk down, and this is a position that's putting you too heavy on your heels. And we can tell this because now your board is away from your body, and you're starting to go and lose that traction over it, and you're taking off in this position here. See how far away your body is from your board? Compared to mine, I'm pretty much straight over top of the board. So this is what's really limiting your power and the drive you can put through, and it's happening for a very subtle reason. I think this reason is right here at the spoon of the jump. As you go and squat down, you're not actually letting your upper body come forward enough in correlation to the hips going back. And the big reason for this is because you're letting this knee come in. When your knee comes in, you're not going to have as much range of motion of the hips to go and drop down into that squatted position. And that's going to make it so as you squat back, you're going to be more towards that back of tail of your snowboard. So what do I want you to do? I want you to focus on keeping this knee out and then dropping the hips further back and letting the upper body come forward more in correlation. What this will do is will give you a more powerful up and down uh, range of motion. So see here, my up and down range of motion is straight over my board, where yours is more set over the heels here. But imagine if this knee was here, uh, these hips weren't opened up as much, and that way you could drop those hips back in the same position, but pull your upper body over here, keeping your center of weight more balanced over the balls of your feet. That'd be a much more powerful platform. So that's what we want. We want your upper body more forward, over top of the board, your hips in the same position, maybe even drop back a little bit more, knees squared. The main thing we're trying to get here is just making sure that our weight is over top of the board. And the main reason we can't do that right now is because you're dropping your hips back with that knee too much towards your tail, and your weight is no longer set over the balls of your feet. Besides that, your actual snap and timing here isn't too bad. Let's go and just look at the snap and timing compared really quick. Mm-hmm. So there's a subtle difference here, and it's very subtle, but it's really important. Watch your upper body rotation coming off the lip. Boom, boom, boom. See how it's sort of stopping right here? It's not really continuing, and now it's still stopped, and then you're utilizing counter rotation. This is why you're not getting a fluent spin, and it's because you're not carrying the rotation off the lip. Let's go and pay really close attention to mine right now. So watch my arm motions. Similar arm position, winding up and snapping. The big difference is I'm more set over top of my board and not leaning back over my glute. So your rotation axis right now is set over here, or mine's set right over here. And then as I go and throw, watch my arm. See how we're continuing motion the whole time, even if it's very subtle. Back arm is continuing to pull and bleed. This is so crucial on a frontside spin. If you go and stop that rotation on your upper body for even a millisecond, it's going to stop your rotational energy. On something like a frontside 360 that really doesn't take much rotational energy, if you go and halt it for even a second with the little bit you have, you're not going to be able to power through. This is also going to be a big reason why you're having trouble with the sevens. And again, just pay attention to your upper body here. See how it's staying stationary and not continuing to rotate up into this point where you start utilizing counter rotation. So you're basically popping here with a little bit of rotational energy, letting the board rotate slightly, like 300 degrees, and then you trying to utilize counter rotation to control it. So what you need to do to fix this? You need to make sure that as you're throwing, you're not going and having your arms in a position that they're feeling too extended. What I mean by that is notice here how your shoulders sort of coming backwards. I think this is a bit too much of a motion. And then notice how this arm's sort of like by the waist, getting ready to grab. We need this arm to be less compromised, so that way you have more range of motion. Try to rotate your chest more while keeping your arms squared and continue that momentum a little bit. This will be a lot easier when we go and fix the base of your position to go and generate that rotation snap. So I wouldn't worry about it too much, but that's why you're not getting those super fluent frontside 360s, and it's because you're stalling out with your upper body while coming off the lip. Let's go look at the 7. We'll go and look at this one next. So here, you're coming in, and we can really see it here. See how your weight's all the way set over here? Look at how far away your upper body is away from your snowboard. So this upper body pulled all the way over here. Hips won't be able to sink back to the tail. Keep the thing strong. Keep yourself more squared. You gotta think a lot more like trying to squat down with the weight into your board instead of trying to go and sit back into the heels. Then as you're snapping, ooh, I have this one a little zoomed in. But just notice how your arms aren't really pulling leading the spin. That's basically all I'm trying to get to there. I think we have a front 7 right here. So for this front 7 attempt, we can see that you're staying more squared. This is a lot more squared, but then as you shift your weight back to your heels, your whole body shifted to your heels and not really set over those toes more. So these legs need a little more bent, hips need a little more back, upper body needs to forward more. That's going to really increase the range of motion and everything, giving you more platform to generate spin from. Because as you take off, you're leaning this way. And if you put a lot of power into this angle, it's going to put a slight torque that's going to be uncontrollable for bigger spins. And then what else is happening? Your arm here is throwing and then immediately pulling back this way. So see how you're throwing and then basically pulling the other way as the shoulder is trying to rotate. So instead of thinking about throwing and stretching this arm all the way down and back and this arm all the way forward, this is too much of a motion because it's making it so you need to go and pull out of it to try to get back into your centered position and to go and generate. Just a lot of noise going on. So how would you get more power? You'd get more power by going and delaying the snap. It will be easier to delay the snap and time the snap right when you have more range of motion with your hips by having that more bend and more position. And then you need to, like this would be a good final leaving position right here. I think if you could leave off in this position, we'd be pretty happy. And then you would, from there, be able to tighten everything and keep everything pulling along. We can also see that your head is lagging behind a little bit. You're spotting there. Your head would need to be spotting there, leading the spin. Uh, and that's probably just coming from this little bit of confusion with the upper body. Yeah, you're just lagging behind with the head slightly there. Mm-mm. Okay, so final. Okay, yeah. Final recap. You need more bend in your upper body and hips to make sure you're more centered with your body over top of your board on the front side spins. And then you need to make sure that you're not snapping and then delaying with your upper body throughout the duration of the first bit of the spin. That's halting you. And for backside, we need to hyper exaggerate this heel side approach. Get fully squat down, and again, we're keeping the weight over top of the board. Then to transition to your toe edge, we need to go and just stand up. Instead of going and squatting down, we need to be lifting, opening everything towards that corner of the jump. From there, that should give you a powerful enough platform, and we don't really care about what's going on in the air here because once you make those changes, it will be so significant, it shouldn't really matter. All right, little body demonstration. So for the front side, it's different of going from the toe edge like this. This is a little bit down on that toe edge, so that way we can go and squat down a little bit more. Because that's coming down more, and now we're starting to get to the toe edge here instead of toe edge. Then for second, it's necessary like this, holding it and then trying to lift it. We need a little bit of continual momentum, more range of motion. These arms don't want to be stationary at any point. For that side, something like this, and then you're trying to go and line that like this. It's really complex and for core and side. We need this to be squat down like this, and then push up like this. So you got an angle, engage, everything strong, and this is giving you a much better balance to get this lift up. If you're here, I just spin, and now moving up to the angles, power, that's going to make it really help with your consistency and good height. So that's why I noticed, I know quite a bit, and it's quite a bit to work on. So work on this also, I think it's going to really help. If you have any questions, please let me know.